giving that to me?
for the next 8 minutes.
For the next 8 minutes, okay.
In our conversation this morning, Carl's going to focus on Disney Cruise Line.
Yes. So you've got a couple of new places that you're going to be heading out to.
We're going to new places all the time.
Well, last year the big one was Alaska. That was like your big push.
Alaska was actually 2 years ago. We did Alaska 2 years ago, and we did it out of Vancouver. This past year,
Was it 2 years?
it was 2 years ago. So then we did Seattle this year. We wanted to see how do they behave differently. We're going back to Vancouver. I mean, Seattle and Vancouver are two great ports, two great cities. There's tons of things to do before or after the cruise. You know, the advantage that you get out of Vancouver is a little more time in the ports.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you try Seattle and make it easier for those who didn't have passports? So that
You know, we wondered about that. We wanted to learn from a Seattle experience, and a lot of our guests took the 2 or 3 days beforehand and had a heck of a time in Seattle. But Vancouver just never wound up being the obstacle that some people perceive it to be. And there are as many guests who still fly into Seattle and take advantage of other transportation options to go up to Vancouver. So we're giving the guests their choice, and if I can give them a little bit more time in Skagway or in Ketchikan, or it's pretty important.
What was the thought process behind Galveston?
You know, one of the things we've learned over time, we've gone to places, we've come back from places, and we skip years, we go back. Galveston and the regional opportunity is something that has worked well for us. We did it in Los Angeles. The regional opportunity in New York City this past summer was great. We know for a fact that we've got tons of Disney fans, you know, in across the United States. But there's a concentration of a lot of people who live in Texas that come to Walt Disney World. We have a lot of guests sailing with us today who live in Texas. The belief is, put a ship there, make it more convenient to drive to a particular port and provide that opportunity. Now that being said, it still takes time to build awareness. And we're in that mode of building awareness in terms of developing a port. And we'll see. I mean, we're pleased where it's tracking, where it's going, and it is an option. You know, so we'll see.
What's the time frame you're going to be there?
We're going to be there through December of 2013. And then she redeploys. Actually, she's going to be in Galveston until May, then goes to Europe. Then she will come back, and she'll be back to Galveston in the latter part of the year, and then she'll redeploy to Miami. Yeah. Musical chairs with ships. It's difficult to keep track of.
Now, why are you having all the ships come back? You mentioned
One of the most popular itineraries that we do is the 3-4-night itinerary. And so today we have the Fantasy and the Disney Dream in Port Canaveral. The Fantasy does 7s, the Dream does 3-4s. During the first 4.5 months of 2014, the Magic will go there as well, do 3-4s. What people do is they combine that 3-4 day vacation with a stay at Walt Disney World. Okay, and frankly, it's something that a large number of our guests take advantage of. Yeah. I mean, and it creates an entire week cruise vacation experience combined with that land experience. We see the demand for it clearly being there, and we also know that the one place our guests love more than anything else is Castaway Cay. And so, in those 4.5 months, we're going to be in Castaway Cay literally 6 days a week.
How do the two new ships compare? Are they identical? Or?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, they're the same size. They're both 1,115 feet. Okay, they both weigh roughly 130,000 gross tons displacement. But I would say to you, the Disney Dream is more of an Art Deco statement. The Disney Fantasy makes more of an Art Nouveau statement. It is a little more feminine, a little more delicate. The colors are more, gentle colors. There are elements of the Fantasy that are designed for a different itinerary. The Dream is a 3-4-day itinerary. On a 7-night itinerary, you need more options for guests. So if you go on the Fantasy, there's an area that we call the Aqua Lab, which is a wet play area for kids. You can go to an area on the forward portion of the ship, you'll see something we call satellite falls. We take a satellite dish and we let water come out of it, and there's a pool underneath it. So there's a lot of things like that that differentiate that, and we'll continue to focus on things that differentiate our ships.
And Castaway Cay, since you're going to be visiting a lot more frequently to the island, any plans to add, or are you doing pretty well with the things that you added for the Dream and the Fantasy?
Well, we added a ton of things, added a ton of things in anticipation of the Fantasy and the Dream. So additional restaurant facilities, cabanas, additional guest conveniences, expansion of the beach offering, new programs, new play areas for toddlers, for young adults, for others, expanding the massage services. I can go on and on and on. But I mean, Castaway Cay is the only island location that any cruise line has where you can actually pull up to the pier and you can walk off and you can do whatever you want. We'll continue to enhance that, and because we know it's our #1 destination.
Karl, what are the biggest trends that you see at Disney?
I mean, one of the things that we continue to see is families want value. We know that a Disney cruise vacation costs more, so we're not going to cheapen our experience. We're going to try to make that experience all inclusive as we possibly can. We want guests to get off that ship and say, that's the best value I ever had. We're not going to nickel and dime you. We're not going to charge you. If you want a filet in your dining room, we're not going to say to you, that's $15 more. That's not the way we think. If you want your kids to spend the entire day, in the kids' clubs, that's part of your cruise fare. And they can do that. We will feed them in the kids' clubs. They can have dinner there while you're off in a contemporary French restaurant or a Northern Italian restaurant, enjoying the evening with your wife or your friend or whatever. We just believe, we track 5 things. What's the experience with our crew? What's your overall experience? How was your food? How was the entertainment? And do you think that cruise experience was valuable? We track that religiously. It is core to what we do, because we want those guests to go away and say, that's the most incredible experience I've had, because we want them back.
How was the new portholes on the interior, which have got so much publicity? Has that changed reservation trends?
Oh, it definitely has. You have people calling up and saying, I want an inside stateroom.
Yeah.
You just can't do an inside stateroom. What we had to go through from an engineering and technical perspective to deliver that, because whatever view you have there has to be perfectly synchronized to the movement of the ship. So what you see, if it's not synchronized to what the ship is actually doing, you're going to have the herpes. You're not going to feel real well. So those have proven to be very popular, and it's one of the first things that guests ask for. Unfortunately, we have somewhat of we have a decent number, I think 157. Something like that, 157 inside staterooms, but guests love it.
Is the pricing changing, so it's an inside's going to one day be more than a low-level outside?
I don't, obviously it's more of an entry-level price, and it will continue to be an entry-level price. We believe in fair pricing. I don't think it's fair to go out there and charge an extravagant sum of money just because something is popular.